I go by the name of Shocka, artist from North London, mental health advocate. Yeah, that's me. I'm from Nigeria, mum and dad, been in Edo State, single mum. Dad left when I was like 5, 6, got deported, ended up in Spain. He's in Austria now, but he ended up in Spain. Yeah, single mum household, and yeah, my mum's a G though. Like I made a song recently for people that's been following me. I made a song called Single Mothers for her because I started realizing as I'm older how much of a G she was. Like when you're younger, you don't know, you don't appreciate it. Me seeing her do everything by herself, but it's only now that I'm getting older that I'm realizing that yeah, my mum did a lot to because I didn't need anything. Do you know what I mean? I can't remember a time where I looked at my friends and felt like, oh, I can't get what they've got, or I looked at my clothes and thought like I'm in bummy clothes. My mum made sure I was in the, I say it openly, I'm not afraid to say it openly, I was spoiled. I'm an only child, I got no brothers and sisters. And I think maybe that my mum had 2 miscarriages before she had me. So I think that might play a part in why she went so hard and spoilt me like that, because like this is her only, do you know what I mean? She's tried and tried, and then she's got me, and then, do you know what I mean? It's her pride and joy. So yeah, my mum, she smashed it. If you just type the word Bulldog Farm into Google, it's one of the most notorious estates in the whole of Britain. It's had 2 riots. It had a riot in 1985 when I think they chopped off a police officer's head and that. And then it had another riot recently when Mark Duggan died. So yeah, I'm from Farm, coming from there now to do this interview. So I really see everything what they're talking about. But the area's changed so much. It's not as bad. It's not as bad as it used to be. It used to be so terrible. Like I'll get cabs and they'll ask me where I'm going, and I'll say I'm going Bulldog Farm, and they'll be like, no, we can't take you. But now it's changing. Like the other day, I saw there's a bus called W4, and it comes through the estate to pick people up. The other day I saw the W4 coming through the estate, and I saw school kids filming the estate. I've never seen that in my whole life. So I got a big up Heady One, I got a big up Abracadabra, I got a big up Bando K for shining a positive light on the estate and making it something positive now, because I've never seen it in my life. They was literally filming the estate like, right, this is where them man are from, do you know what I mean? So they've changed the whole perception of the estate. Not really. I saw him once. My mum took me to see him in Spain, Madrid, one time when I was like 14, 15. She took me to go see him, and I saw him, and that's the only time I've seen him since then. We've been speaking though recently. He's called me because my mum's ill. She's got cancer at the moment. So obviously my mum has to tell everyone and let everyone know. So she's contacted my dad again to let him know. And so he's been back and forth talking to her, and he's been talking to me now. We've been communicating with each other. And yeah, so the closest I get to him is talking to him on the phone. But I haven't seen him in flesh in ages. Like, it sounds sad to say, but if I saw him on the street, I probably might even walk past him. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. At first, I wasn't bothered about it. I grew up without him for so long that I didn't care. It's only recently, now I'm growing up, I'm starting to see where my dad could have been influential. Just me being a man, do you know what I mean? I don't feel like I'm a man's man. Do you know what I mean? Like, for me, this is for me, my own reflection, I don't feel like I'm a man's man. I feel like there's so much things my dad could have taught me about being a man, about conducting myself. I've been raised by a woman my whole life, so I've got like proper, I feel like I'm out of balance in some way. I've got proper feminine tendencies sometimes, and I feel like my dad could have proper helped me with that. Could have really shaped me and molded me into a man. For the past 2 years now. She had cancer first, and then it went away, she beat it, and then it came back. It came back more aggressive. So she's been fighting it for like a year now. We went to Nigeria last year because they said she's got a couple months. So we went to Nigeria to see her mum and see my family out there. And yeah, so it's been a year later, she's still here. I'm just elated when I went into the new year with her. To get me, we went into the new year praying, holding hands. It was a beautiful thing. But at the same time, it's sad because like, this sounds deep, but I don't even want to put it out there, but I'm just going to be honest because there's thoughts that go through my mind. This could be the last year. This could be the last new year I go into with my mum, to get me, God forbid, but that thought has entered my mind. So going into this new year was bittersweet because it was beautiful that my mum's still here and I went in with her, but the bitter part was like, this could be the last year. And that's devastating for me because I just explained to you that my mum is literally my whole world. Literally, like, my mum's helped me with everything. When I got sectioned, she was the only person. Obviously, I had friends to come see me, but she's the one that kept calling me every day. Every time they'll get me out my room, they'll be like, your mum's on the phone to call you. Or when I'm looking through my window, I can see a woman walking past the window. I'm like, oh my God, my mum's here. So I'll come out before they're like, why are you out? And I'm like, I saw my mum through the window, I can tell she's here. Like, having that foundation and that support system is unparalleled. And I've got no brothers and sisters. So it's not like I've got an older brother that I can lean on as a rock. She's like my dad, my brother, my mum, she's everything. So like, I haven't even entertained the thought of losing her. I can't even imagine like where I'll start. Hear every artist say music saved my life, but I mean it, like music saved my life, because my auntie used to always say it to me. My auntie used to always say you was a follower. And what she meant by that is anything my friends would say, I'll do it. My big case when I got arrested when I was younger, not a big case, but I mean like the biggest time that I got arrested when I was younger was because my friend told me, take that girl's phone. And I went and robbed her and I took the phone. So that's what she meant by I had a follower's mentality. I'll do anything my friend says just to be cool. Which is weird now because I'm the complete opposite. I got my own mentality, I've got a leader's mindset now, but back then when I was younger, I was a proper follower. And I think that comes from not having brothers and sisters, not having guidance, you know what I mean? Or not having a father. That's where father can come into it. Because I'm a big Kendrick Lamar fan, and like I watch all these old interviews, and he always spoke about his dad was in his life to tell him, yo, you see what you did? I've done that before, don't do that again. Do you know what I mean? I never had that. And my mum couldn't chat to me either. I got to a certain age where my mum was like, don't go out, and I'll still go out and slam the door. What could she really do? Do you know what I mean? So I had a proper follower's mindset, and that was dangerous. I got caught with weapons on me. I had no business carrying weapons, but I was carrying weapons because it was the cool thing. Everyone had a knife when I was younger, everyone. That was like standard. That was like putting on your trainers and putting on a jacket. That goes with the outfit. What, you don't have a shank? You know what I mean? That goes with it. So, but music saved my life. Back to the question, music saved my life because as soon as I had something to focus on, that was it. It took me off that path. So now when the man them are like, oh, come out and chill on the block, I'm writing lyrics. Or when the man them are like, what you want tomorrow? Focusing on my craft. So that put me on a straight and narrow. So having a purpose is so important. I got into music when I was young. I got in from early. I'm so happy I got in from early as well. And because obviously, people don't know, but most people do know, but like there's a 10,000 hours rule. Do you know what I mean? And that's like your first 10 years just to master your craft and get good enough to show your talent to the world. And it's like, there's no skipping that 10-year entry fee. Whether you start at 20, then you're gonna have to put in that 10 years. If you start at 15, you're gonna put in that 10 years. If you start in at 40, you're gonna put in that 10 years. There's no skipping that entry fee. Even though it seems like people's blown quickly, but if you go on YouTube and you check their history, you see that they was doing this from way back. They put in that 10-year entry fee. So I'm happy I did my 10-year entry fee from like young. I started spitting early, from like 13, 14, I was writing lyrics, I was out there. That's why I'm so cool with like everyone else that came up around that time. Chipmunk, we was cool from early. Chip used to call me, spit me lyrics. He's put in his 10-year entry fee from ages ago. Double S, me and Double S went to the same school, ended up in the same group. Wretch 3-2, I was in Chain Gang. If people don't know, Chain Gang was the youngest of a group called Combination Camp, and that was the group that Wretch 3-2 was in. So I was his youngest. So I used to see Wretch, like I've seen the Wretch the world saw. I saw that Wretch ages ago, like on the block. He was incredible from like a young age. He was like way ahead of his time. So yeah, I put in that 10-year entry fee from early. So I tried to get Vertex to do one of my covers from my project, and he was taking ages to do it. And I remember them times I was hot-headed, like I had the proper farm mentality. So I phoned him up and a madman, like, bruv, what are you doing? Like, I need this to happen. This is my life. Like, you need to do this cover. So what he done, he finally listened to the project. I gave him the CD. I come to the building, always recording to check him, to see if he's done it. When I walked in, he's like, yeah, that's him. I'm like, right, what have I done? He's like, bro, I listened to his CD. He's fucking hard. Like, that's the you. And then Chip and that was like, yeah, we know him. Double S was like, that's Shocka, bro. Like, he's been spitting, he's been cold. And then from then, Vertex was trying to get me into Marvel. Then we went to Semtex's. That was my first time on BBC One Extra. We went Semtex's show, and they asked who's in the building right now. And Vertex was like, we got Marvel in the building. And then from then, I remember Bath was just saying like, yo, like, you lot just do it. And then them lot saved my life. I tell Double S this all the time, and he always laughs at stop it. But Double S and Vertex don't understand what they done for me, bro. They proper saved my life, because I was going on a left trajectory. Like I said to you, I was a follower. So like, I got kicked out of every college I was in. Went to St Thomas More, got kicked out of there, sixth form. Went to Haringey College in North London, got kicked out of there. Went to Wolverhampton Forest, got kicked out of there. So I had no, like, it was looking peak for me. And I was working at Sports World, some dead job. And then Double and Vertex was like, yo, come with us and do this thing. And they had a foot into the game. They was like around Chip at the time. They was around Always Recordings. So they had a foot in. So like, yeah, so they proper gave me, they made my dreams come true, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't think they understand how obsessed I was with this music industry, with the grime scene myself. Like, I'm proper obsessed. Like, I knew everyone, like, so they proper helped me realize those dreams, so I owe them. Life was good, man. Life at that time was good. And that's why when I keep saying dream come true, like, I'm very specific with my words. I want your audience to understand and feel where I'm coming from. That's why I'm using words like dreams, because dreams has a certain je ne sais quoi to it. Do you know what I mean? So it was a dream come true for me. Like, we was on tour. The tours were different to how they are now. Actually, the tours are kind of lit now again. But do you remember when the scene got a bit quiet for a bit? But that Chipmunk, Tinchy Strider, N-Dubs period, tours were lit. We're talking about thousands. And don't forget, we supported Skepta. We supported Diversity. That was like an arena tour. And we supported Chip. So you can imagine, like, I'm just a young kid from Tottenham. I'm coming back to the ends. I'm telling the man them like, yo, I was just in Manchester. And don't forget, there's girls too. Let me not forget that part. It's not like we're just touring. You know, we're going back to the hotels after. There's women. Like, bro, I remember my first show in Glasgow. We did the Mobo's after party. We never got nominated, but they asked us to perform at the after party. And then we went to the Mobo's after party. And I remember after the after party, we took like a couple girls back. Did what we had to do. But it was lit. It was lit, man. We was just young kids living our dream. Like, it was a proper beautiful thing. That's a good question, you know. If we thought we was next, because the streets were saying we was next and the industry was saying we was next. But I don't know if we felt it, because we was getting bare doors shut in our faces that people never knew about. Hence why we didn't cross. Because at that time, it was about pop bands. I remember there was one deal that we went to, Geffen. Do you remember the label Geffen? I think Scorcher was signed to them, I think, for a single. I think so, don't quote me on it. But there was Geffen, we sat down with them, and it was out of us and The Wanted. Wanted went on to do amazing things. But that's because The Wanted ticked the boxes that they was looking for. I remember we was at an event, and this A&R come up to us and said, yo guys, love what you do, but please just tell us, how can we market you? How are we gonna make you translate to the white audience and the mainstream? And that's the problem they was having. We was 3 black boys. That was unheard of. 3 black boys, African, from Tottenham. At that time, the game's not how it is now, where you can have Stormzy, a tall, dark skin, gold tooth, talking about fuck Theresa May at the Brits. Game changed. It's not like that. I wish we came out now. If we came out now, we probably would have been the biggest things. Because now we're in the, I call it the unconventional era. We're in the era where there's no rules, you know what I mean? Everyone's doing things their own way, everyone's being their self. Hence why I'm so happy to come out now. If someone had given me an option now and said, erase Marvel and come out in this time now, or blow the Marvel times and erase this time now, it'll be a hard decision for me to make. I'll probably pick now, because I've never had as much freedom as I've got now. I'm literally being myself in every single aspect. It's how I built my following on Instagram as well. I'm literally just being me, and I've marketed my own self. Them times, you couldn't market your own self. They wanted to market you, to get me and see how they can manipulate you to get the people to like you, and you know what I mean? So we was just unfortunate, we was ahead of our time. I'll put it that way. We came out in a funny period. Oh, fucking hell, man. I hate talking about this because I feel like I just have to be transparent and honest about it, but it fell apart. I'll give you both sides to it. It ended because Double S had enough. And he was like, I can't do this anymore. But let me explain why he had enough. He had enough because Vertex kept fucking things up with his behavior. Because Vertex is a genius. Like anyone that knows V, genius, like so talented. And I'm feeling the repercussions now by not having him around, because I didn't appreciate what it was like to have Double S in your group, which writes the songs and comes up with sick hooks. Then you've got Vertex that does the editing, the filming, sorts out all the videos. I was chilling. When I keep telling you I was living my dreams, I mean that shit. Like, I was actually chilling. Obviously I was playing my part by contributing my verses, but it was easy for me. I didn't have to do what I'm doing now, where I got to phone up a video director and check the treatment, and all of that was getting covered. You get me? I was literally in a dream group, a super group here, but everything comes with its ups and downs. Vertex had bad character traits, do you know what I mean? Like, he wasn't handling people right. We'll get stylists, we'll give us some clothes. He'll leave them dirty and just, do you know what I mean? Like, just different things here and there, and people didn't want to work with us, and Double felt like he's getting older, and his time, if he sticks in this situation, before you know it, he would have wasted all the time that he could have used to rectify it and do something with himself, and it would have fucked it up. And plus, there was internal issues going on as well. Like, I feel like, as much as we'll never admit it, and I've never said this on camera before, I've said a hint of it on a song called Letter to Marvel, but I've never said this on like an interview, but there was a hint of jealousy going on. I feel like Vertex was a bit jealous of Double S, a little bit, do you know what I mean? And I don't blame him, because Double's like a beautiful spirit. Like, I don't know if you've met Double S, like proper sat down and met him. Everyone loves Double S. He's got like a proper light. Double S is one of those characters, like he's one of them characters where like, people are just jealous of him, they get me, and they've got more than him, they're doing better than him, but he's got such a beautiful light, and I felt like that was happening within the group. And yeah, man, shit like that just made it just fall. And the reason why that's so upsetting to me is because we never fell, because outside pressures was outside. You know, usually people are getting blocked, but obviously we had the problem of not being able to get marketed, but that doesn't mean the labels was blocking us. They wanted to sign us, they just didn't know how we're gonna break you through. So we never stopped because of like outside influences, which is jarring, because I would love to sit here and be like, we broke up because this person was blocking us, but it was literally like in-house shit, and we see that all the time. In all the best movies and all the, do you know what I mean? Like, all these groups end up fighting, and it's a common thing. And I never used to understand it, but now I'm part of it, I get it. So when I see people like Western still going strong after all this time, I respect it, because it's so difficult to be in a group. It's difficult, man, especially boys, men, you've got egos, and someone wants to be the lead, and do you know what I mean? That's where the problem comes a lot as well. Like, he's the face of it, and you feel like, why is my man the face? And I can do more. Do you know what I mean? There's just so much shit that breaks apart, tears groups apart. But on a positive note, I'm so grateful for the legacy we left behind. I get messages every single day. I get stopped on the street every single day. 10 years later, people still stopping me. Are you Shocka from? Oh, I used to listen to you in. We literally touched a generation. Like, it's a beautiful thing. I wouldn't erase any of it. Like, it was meant to be. It ended how it was meant to end. So it started from 2010, which is crazy, because that was the height of our career. 2009, 2010, those 2 years was epic. We dropped Marvel FM 1, Marvel FM 2, Marvel FM 3. We got 10,000 downloads in the first week on the first one, 20,000 downloads on the next one. A mistake that a mistake that we made that I regret is that we never sold the mixtapes. When we used to go into label meetings, they used to always say to us, but what's the download? anyone can just click a download for free. They wanted like physical sales, like show us proof that people are actually buying it. So imagine that Marvel FM 3 that got 30,000, 20,000 in the first week. Imagine we sold that. That would have changed the whole game. So that's one thing that, like, if I can go back and change, I would have said, man, we've got to sell these mixtapes. We'll change it. We're about to make history and change the game and do record-breaking numbers. But yeah, so 2010, Marvel FM 3, we're at Metropolis, which is the biggest recording studio in England, one of the most famous recording studios in this country. We meet Drake, up and coming Drake. We're just walking into the building, Drake's on the stairs having a cigarette with 40. I pedal back. I'm like, yo, we just started getting into him as well because he had successful Trey songs out. I pedal back. I'm like, yo, Drake. He's like, yo, what up, man? I'm like, what are you doing there? He's like, I'm writing with Rihanna. We're like, what, Rihanna's in there? He's like, yeah. And then we go in there now, and then we see Rihanna's actually in there. And then for that whole week, we see Drake. Obviously, we had that footage that we met him. But
not the Marvel boys. We in here in the studio. It's like 5 in the morning.
5 in the morning. Hard work. Buzzing all over.
We doing it, man. Early in the morning. I'm working, they working.
People don't understand that we saw him for that whole week, every single day, back to back. He was just in there with Rihanna writing. And then 40, his producer, wanted weed. So we got him some weed, and then he was like, yo, like, thank you, man. I ain't had no weed since we touched down from Canada. What can we do for you? We was like, we got this blog, like, can we get Drake on? He was like, yeah, come through. And then he took us into the studio, and we chopped it up with Drake, and we got him in a blog. And then we got Rihanna as well. So yeah, we was literally killing it. And then 2010, we get signed to Risky Roads, big up Rooney. We get signed to Risky Roads. And then 2010, 10, because I remember that was a single date. We Know was 10, 10, 10. So we dropped our first single with the label called We Know, and then the single didn't do good. And that's when we was tipped to go. But I remember having a meeting with Twin. I remember Twin saying to us, just drop another single, come back again. Everyone's first one doesn't do well. Obviously Tiny was a special case, but not everyone's first single takes them through. Just come back again and be consistent. Our label got cold feet, they got proper shook. And because they spent so much money on that campaign, the video was like 10 bags, 10, 11 bags. They spent so much money on the campaign, they got shook. They said, no, we can't continue. That just set us back. Our hype died down. We had to start all over again. And as I've mentioned in this interview, you can see how much music meant to me. Music's my literal world, saved my life. That just went crashing down. And then 2011, we got dropped from the deal. 2012, 2011, I was in deep depression. Like I was at home all day. I remember one of my neighbors come to check for me one time. I got a neighbor called Isaac, my brother. He lives next door to me. He always comes to check up on me here and there. I remember one time, I don't know if he remembers this, but one time he comes to check up on me and I was just in the dark in my room and he put the light on. He's like, right, wagwan, like, what are you saying? Like, why are you in the dark? And I couldn't even articulate myself as I can now. And I was just going through it, man. And my mum putting pressure on me indirectly, not on purpose, like she knew that this was the outcome going to happen, but indirectly in the sense of like, you're at home every day, what you're doing. I remember I used to be at home every day. I knew I was at home every day because I was watching every episode of Hollyoaks, bro. I was watching every single program. Like I had nothing to do, literally idle time. And I remember being so depressed, bro. And then at the end of 2011, I had a breakdown. I just couldn't take it. Because even when I left Sports World, remember I told you Marvel and Dublin that helped me when I was working at Sports World, it was just on the brink where like people were starting to notice me in there. I remember people would come in and see me. I'm like, what, Shocka, is this where you work? And that was the early stages, let alone after. We've just done the mobile after party. We've done the legendary Westwood sets with Gets and Wretch. We've done the Chipmunk tour. We've done the Skepta tour. We've done the Diversity tour. Now I'm going to get a job. And thinking back at it now, it wasn't even that deep. I probably could have got a job. If I had the mindset now and I had the confidence and the strength of who I am now, I probably could get a job. Because what I'm starting to realize about life is that the embarrassment is not the situation. It's people's views of the situation. It's not, the actual situation of me going to get a job is not deep. Bruv, someone got a job today. Today, someone got a brand new job, you get me, at Tesco's, and they're excited about it. It's not that deep. the deep part is what people's gonna think of you. So if you can conquer, if you can overcome what people think about you, that's freedom. You beat the game, you beat the matrix, you've won. Do you know what I mean? Like, you basically won. And I never had that information at that time. I was still so stuck into the mainstream. I'm at Marvel, everyone's gonna laugh at me. My mom's gonna tell do you know what I mean? My cousins in Nigeria are gonna ask me, how's music going? And I told them I'm not doing it anymore. I'm working now. Do you know what I mean? All these things, bro, like, was going in my head, and it just led to me having that huge breakdown. And I remember, like, the ambulance, my mom, it just got so deep, my auntie was there as well. They called the ambulance for me. I came home one day and I was just screaming and shouting, and my mom was trying to calm me down. And I'm still trying to figure that out myself. I feel like every time I talk about it in these interviews and every time I reflect on it, it becomes clearer and clearer. I'm still trying to figure that out myself, because what I've learned as well is that when you have a proper traumatic experience, yeah, your brain blocks some things out. I don't know, 6, 7 years, I can say that I've really tried to rebuild myself and fix things, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a proper introverted person, so I spend a lot of time at home just thinking and trying to figure out, like, what happened here, and do you know what I mean? Why did that go wrong? I've tried to, but it's like there's certain memories I can't unlock. Maybe it's for my own safety, or I don't know, but I've tried to go back there. Like, I've gone back there, and they always say that your memory will fail you. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can talk about, even me explaining some of the situations that I'm talking about now, meeting Drake and all them situations, I might not explain it as accurate as it was. I can never. Do you know what I mean? Scary experience. I remember being in there, and I remember my next door neighbor that I told you about that come to check me. That he's been at proper, like, big moments in my life, and I remember him being there with me. I remember my mum being with me as well, and then I remember they put me in some room because it was late when I had the breakdown. They couldn't just take me into the hospital straight away, so they put me in some room in the morning. And I remember being in that room and I didn't know where I was, bro. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I didn't know where I was. It's only when I woke up in the morning and I tried to leave, and they was like, nah, you can't leave. And then my auntie said, I was saying something. I can't remember what I was saying, but I was saying something. And I remember, I'll never forget this. This is another thing. I only remember big moments from that time. This is another thing I won't forget. I remember my aunties and my mum shaking their head like, nah, he's still, because I think they probably thought maybe if we leave him overnight, come back in the morning, he's going to be all right. But when they came back, I was still having that phase, and it was like, nah, he's not good. He's not in a good place. So they took me into the mental health hospital. That was St. Anne's. The first time I was there for like 5 days. They took me there. I remember I tried to, when I actually realized that I was in a mental health hospital is when I tried to leave. I remember getting up one time and thinking, oh shit, I'm going home. And I tried to leave to go home, and they all rushed me. And I was fighting them off, and they injected me. Yeah, bro, they injected me, and then I woke up in like some room. They injected me and I woke up in some room, and when I woke up, my mum was looking through the, say like this door here had the glass thing. My mum was looking through, just waving at me, just trying to tell me it would be all right. And yeah. Everything I'm doing then is going to help them. Do you know what I mean? There's going to be a kid at home that's going to get dropped from his label that's going to be a bit big and be like, I remember what Shocka did. Let me get a part-time thing on the side so I don't fall into that. Do you know what I mean? So I really had no choice, bro. I remember the first time I was listening to the radio. I spoke about this in another documentary I did for Snapchat. I was listening to the radio, and I remember thinking, why does it sound like the radio's talking about me? Because I remember whenever I used to go talk, there's this woman I used to go speak to after I got sectioned. They send you to talk to a woman. It's like therapy, but it's not as intense as therapy, but you go chat to a woman, and she used to always ask me, like, do you feel like people are talking to you and things are coming at you? And I used to explain it to her, and she used to just look at me like, do you know what I mean? Like, something's wrong. That's not supposed to be happening. But that happened one time. The first time it happened when I was listening to the radio. I don't know what they were saying on the radio, but I just felt like I was hearing the voice. It's so hard to explain. And that's why I didn't want to talk about it at first. That's why it's taken a while for me to come out and start talking about these things, because in our culture, it's like, it's witchcraft, oh, it's jinn, oh, it's voodoo, do you know what I mean? Oh, it's devils, and it's all of that stuff. And I believed that for a long, long time. I thought I was fully cursed. I didn't want to tell no one about it. I was like, oh my God, like, why me? Like, what the fuck did I do? Like, is it that's why I've got a song on my first project, Kenneth is a King. I've got a song called Haven't Spoken to Dad. And I say something like, is my bloodline cursed? Is it hereditary? I say something like that in the song, because the song's about me talking to my dad and what I'll say to him when we meet, because I haven't spoken to him in so long. So the part of the song was like, is my bloodline cursed? What I'm going through, is it hereditary? Because I started thinking like that, like, right, like, maybe what has he gone through in his life that I don't know about? That I might be paying for it, or like, what's my bloodline done? It's only when I went into hospital and I started talking to like other patients that was white, and they were saying they're hearing voices and that, and I was like, huh? Because my thing was like, it's a black thing, do you know what I mean? Like, I was like, it's a black thing, only black people, you know, voodoo, da, da, da. When I was seeing my white counterpart saying, yeah, Shocks, man, today was a rough day, man. I was hearing voices and stuff, you know, it was really hard. It broke something in my mind. It helped something click. I was like, huh? I was like, what's this score? He's like, yeah, man, my schizophrenia is really getting, I was like, bro, I laugh about it in every interview. I say I can't spell schizophrenia. I'm happy when the spell check comes up when I'm trying to spell it. After the SCH, it's a myth for me. Do you know what I mean? So I know the clinical terms for these things. So when he's talking, it's good to like explain your situation to other cultures outside of yourself. Because like, I remember Lad Bible, they got me to sit down, I don't know if you've seen that on YouTube, but they got me to sit down with someone else that's been through schizophrenic phases, and they got us two to sit down together. It's on YouTube, you can watch it. They got us two to sit down together and speak about our experiences, and he's Jewish. And like, those things, that's why I understand the importance of me speaking now. So you know when you said before, what's pushed me to speak? Them times I was just doing it because I had no choice. Now I'm consciously doing it. Like when you message me and say, yo, I want to do an interview with you, I'm consciously thinking about, I want to do this interview because I want to say this, because I know there's someone at home that's going to give a bit more clarity to. Because just sitting down with that Jewish youth and having that conversation, and him saying like, he'll be in a lift with his friends, and the voice in the lift will start talking, and his friends will say, that's not in your head, you know, that's really the lift. You know what I mean? Just bantering like that. And I'm like, oh shit, you lot talk like that. Whereas in my culture, that banter's not what the banter's gonna be. The banter's gonna be like, yo bro, are you okay? Like, you need to get checked up, or like, what's going wrong with you? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's more, and I'm not ignorant to the fact to say that there isn't stuff like voodoo, and I schooled in Nigeria. I got stories for days of shit that like I got told out there that happens, or shit. We all, like, I watched the Nigerian movies, that we watch the Nigerian movies, and we see the witch doctor do what he's doing. I'm not ignorant to the fact that that's out there, that is out there, is real. But I'm trying to say not all cases are like that. There's like other stuff, there's other cases that's not like that, and we need to highlight that too, because that's stopping a lot of people from speaking. Because there's so much people that's probably going to end up killing themselves because they can't speak, and it could have got prevented. What's a day today like? Do you know what? It's really boring. It's really boring. I think the reason why people are so intrigued when they hear that someone's been to a mental home is because of our perception of what mental health is. People think that there's people in there like doing the maddest shit, do you know what I mean? So as soon as you say it to someone, that's what I thought. That's what I would thought. So that's the first thought someone has, like, oh my God, he's in a mental home. He's probably around people that was like climbing walls, but it's not like that. Like there's levels in the mental home. There's like severe cases where they're like locked away, and like, but where I was, the ward that I was on, it was like man them. Do you know what I mean? That's just got issues. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, everyone's got issues they're going through, but we've branded it in a certain way, and we've put it in a certain way. But I was talking to, there was young people in there. There was one guy in there that was so happy to be in there because of how rough he was living on the outside world. he was telling me, yo, like, I've got my own bedroom, you know, I've got wardrobe, this is like heaven for me, mate. I'm not leaving here. And I was like, what? I was like, so how bad was you living in the outside world to come into a mental home and feel like this is heaven for you? Do you know what I mean? How rough were they treating you out there to come in here where this is meant to be healthy and think this is heaven for you? And then I met other people that couldn't take it. Like sometimes you just see nurses rush into like someone's room because like they're having a breakdown or like a fit. Like I remember I'll come out in the night and I'll just see them like holding someone. All of that shit's traumatic as well, man. I'll see them holding that shit, holding someone down and like trying to pin him down, and all of that shit's traumatic. Do you know the hardest parts though? The hardest part is the visits. When my mum used to come and visit me, it's like, you just feel like you failed, bro. I told you about my mum's story as well, saying she had 2 miscarriages before me, and now you finally get to have a child, and then he grows up and he's in a mental health hospital, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like, so that inspires me a lot to make me want to like correct things and give her some sort of joy, just to let her know like there's nothing wrong with you. Do you know what I mean? Like when I got signed recently, like she was so happy, bro. Like when I did the TED talk and I'm showing her clips and she's just happy, bro. Like those shit's important, just to let her know, like, because me and my mum's never spoken about shit like this, but because of how I think now, I know how she must think. Like, do you know what I mean? I've lost 2 kids. I finally do get my kid. He grows up and he's in a mental health hospital now, and they're telling him he's got schizophrenia and he's hearing voices, and her culture is even worse now because she's thinking, oh, maybe something's wrong with me, and like, she's bare embarrassed, you know what I mean? So like, those are the difficult times, and coming to see your brethren, even though my brethren are the coldest. I was embarrassed, bro. I was embarrassed, man. I didn't want to see anyone, man. But when he came, like, it was love. Like, I remember he did a remix of, do you remember that tune that was out? She said, I forgot how the tune goes, but he remixed it. And how did the tune go, man? He's not even a big artist. He had like a one-hit wonder. That's why I can't say his name, but like, I remember anyway, when you're in a mental health hospital, you get an hour a day back into society, so your friends can take you out. My mum used to take me for a walk around the area, then drop me back. Double and my brethren that come to check me, they took me in a car and just took me for a little drive. But I remember Double came and just playing me like what he's been working on, to get me. And at that time, I was so disconnected of like music and like what things it sounded like. I'll never forget, I remember listening to it thinking, fucking hell, this is cold. Because you can imagine, yeah, I've got no phone in there. You can have your phone in there, but my mum didn't want me to talk to people just in case they might take it, or knowing me, I might end up doing a filming, or do you know what I mean? So I had no phone. I was in there for 28 days. I had no phone, nothing, no contact to the outside world. And I remember like, your senses are heightened. So when you do hear music, it sounds different. It sounds HD. So I remember Double playing me this tune, yeah? I remember listening to it thinking, what the fuck is this? You're cold. I remember Double telling me, yeah, Mr. Jam's gonna premiere it. And I was thinking, right, I was thinking, like in my mind, I was getting left behind. Do you know what I mean? Those are the hard parts, man, when you feel like everyone in society is moving on, and like, you're asking everyone what's new. Like I'll be asking Double, what's new? And he's like, oh, Thing's got a new video out. This one and this one had beef, this one, and you're just thinking like, do you know what I mean? Like I saw, there was a girl called Josephine, yeah? Big up Josephine, man. Like, she came to visit me like all the time, and like, she even picked me up on the day that I was allowed to get discharged. And I remember her coming and saying, bruv, get your stuff, man. Come out of there, bruv. Like, hurry up and bruv, let's go. To get me like proper, giving me that vibe again, to get me. And I remember like she came in her Jeep and she picked me up, and like, she took pictures of me the second time. I remember she cut my hair because I had like a little afro or whatever, and she gave me a trim in there, yeah, and took a couple pictures. But I remember my brethren sent me some of the pictures recently, and I was looking at it, and exactly what you mentioned, bro. When I looked at my eyes, I weren't there, bro. And I posted the picture on my Instagram, and all the comments was like, bro, you look like, I never had the dreads, I just look like a completely different person. But at that time, it felt normal. Do you know what I mean? I didn't notice it. I was looking in the mirror every day. I didn't notice it, but now looking back, and I'm like, fucking hell, like, yeah, I was defeated. They monitor your behavior. They monitor behavior and see like if you're fit enough to get back into society and, you know, leave. So the second time, I remember, I always say this, my doctor used to always tell me, don't come off your medication, come off gradually. And he used to tell me people don't listen, they think he's chatting shit. And they don't listen and they just come off straight away and they end up relapsing. And obviously, back to what we was talking about being embarrassed, I couldn't tell them, man. Like now I say it freely, I'll be like, yeah, I'm going home to take my meds, and do you know what I mean? I say it freely, but them times, like, it was so embarrassing, man. Do you know what I mean, man? And you know how man them have got their own furies as well, like, why are you taking that, bro? Don't you know they're trying to dumb you down, and do you know what I mean? So I used to come off it, and I didn't take it, and I ended up relapsing again. And then I remember the third time, my brethren just got signed, and he was like, yo, bro, we're going MadeYouThink. Give me your passport details, we're going tonight. And I remember my mum was like, yeah, it's cool for you to go. I'm not gonna stop you from going. I want you to get back and start enjoying yourself, but make sure you take your medication with you because you're going to foreign lands. I'll never forget her saying those words to me. Always echoes in my mind. She said, you're going foreign lands. You ain't been foreign lands before. So make sure you take your meds with you. I took it, but I didn't take it. I drank so much alcohol. You're not supposed to drink alcohol, especially someone for me, but I drink. I'm not supposed to be saying this, but I found a way to pattern, do you get me? And yeah, I was drinking, I was doing all this stuff, and then, bro, I started blacking out, hearing voices abroad. That was the scariest breakdown of all three of them. Out of the first one, the second one, the third one, that was the scariest. I was in a whole different country, and I wasn't as vocal as I was now. So the man them were saying, bro, you haven't come out the whole, because I was on the balcony just chilling, bro. And the man them were like, luckily it wasn't too high, but the man them were like, you ain't come out for the whole day, like, what's wrong with you? And I couldn't articulate it. I couldn't say that I feel funny, that I'm here and shit. Like, do you know what I mean? I just kept, I weren't even speaking, bro. Like if I can find one of my brethren, I weren't even speaking, I was just nodding my head, just trying to get, and this happened from the last day all the way back to England, you know. It's only when I got back home, I texted my mum and said, this is the first time I've done this. This is when I knew that I healed the last time I got sectioned. Probably, God willing, why I haven't been back since. Something was different about this third time. It's like I accepted it. I messaged my mum and said, Mum, I don't feel right. Something's wrong. My mum said, you know what? Don't panic. Just relax. I'm going to call the ambulance, call everything. And I've never done that before. First, second time, I was fighting it. Do you know what I mean? This time, my third time getting sectioned, I went in willingly. And that was the third time. That was the first time when I spoke to other patients and had conversations and played table tennis. The third time, this might sound crazy, but the third time was actually sick. Like, it sounds weird saying that, but like, and when I say sick, I mean sick in the sense of like acceptance. It was sick. The first, second time, I never spoke to no one. I used to come out. I used to just sit in the corner. Yeah, but inside myself, I was like, I'm not meant to, like, I never thought I was meant to be there, but like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not meant to be there. Like, first, second time, I never spoke to no one. Obviously, I spoke to people here and there. Some people come to my room and I'll talk, I have a conversation, but the third time, I mean, I spoke. Like, I was playing I'm sick at table tennis. I played one time, and everyone realized how cold I am, and they used to come and knock at my door and be like, yo, Kenneth, come out, man, we need you. Like, come play table. I played table tennis. I watched telly. I think the World Cup was on that time. We used to all stay up and watch the World Cup. There was a girl called Indu. She used to work on my ward. She used to do there's something called one-to-one, where like a doctor will follow you like everywhere, just one-to-one with you. Like, if you're at the toilet, he's standing beside your toilet. That's if you're on like suicide watch and you're really bad. She used to do one-to-one with one of the patients. So I used to just see her like drawing on her one-to-one, because it's boring just watching. So she'll be drawing, and like, we became good friends. When I did my headline show, that show the other day, last year in February, I invited her down to the show, and I bigged her up on stage and said, yo, like, thank you very much. You're a sick drawer, and like, we've kept a proper sick relationship. And the third time, the ward I was on was mad youthful as well. The first two times, the doctors were like adults, like uncles, you know what I mean? That's what made me feel even more scared, because like, you know how uncles have got that kind of vibe to them. But So most cases of people that have breakdowns or people that like fall into depression is because their image of their self becomes low. And the reason why your image of yourself becomes low is for numerous things. I've spoken about this before. It could be like your girlfriend leaving you. Do you know what I mean? Some people can't handle that. Do you know how much messages I get on DM, bro? Saying that I just came out of a relationship, you have any advice for me? I was with her for 5 years, she cheated. People can't handle those things. So don't forget, you get so emotionally involved. That makes your self-image become low. So that means now, whenever you go to do something, whether it's like an activity, the first thing your mind says to you is, you're not worthy of doing this because you're the guy that your girl left you. Do you know what I mean? That's a low self-image. Or having an addiction, or alcohol, or divorce. So my image became low from music. I had a high, and this is why I can speak on this comfortably, because I've had a high self-image before. Do you know what I mean? Like, yo, like man make Drake, I'm sick. Do you get me? I won 2 awards, or I've got a fan that just tattooed the Marvel. I had a really high self-image of how I viewed myself. And then I had a low self-image when that got taken away. But what the solution to that is making sure that your image doesn't come from worldly things. That's the solution now. That's the key. And that's what I'm trying to hone in home now. I'm trying to say, don't make the mistake I made, and make sure your identity comes from like things of the world, because that could get taken from you. Same way music got taken from me. So if I think I am whoever I am because of music, what happens when they take that away? Who am I tomorrow then? Or if I think I am whoever I am because I've got this car, then when that car breaks down, who am I? So your image your identity has to come from higher. What does God think of me? Do you know what I mean? He created me. What does he think of me? What like this body that I'm in, what does it mean? Do you know what I mean? What's the purpose behind it? And I think this instrument is one of the most incredible things that has ever been created. This is like magnificent. And like, I think one of the agendas that I don't know what to call them, whether it's the government or like the higher ups are trying to do, is make people not value this and this. They're trying to like, if I talk to someone and say, are you proud that you're actually a human and you're in this? They'll be like, I don't give a fuck about this. They don't even know the importance of how beautiful and how special this thing is, because their image is so low. And it's the world that makes our image low, because the world tells us that if you're not earning this amount of money, you're no one. Or if you're not working at this amount, if you're not working this job, you're no one. I get messages all the time saying, yo, bruv, you got a blue tick, man. That's so sick. How do I get one? My bank balance hasn't changed, bro. Like, you know what I mean? What's a blue tick? But it just shows where our self-image is. So that's what I meant by most of our depression is caused by our self-image. And it's true. If you talk to someone that's depressed and ask them, how do you feel right now? They're not, do you know, that they're gonna tell you, they'll verbalize it, that I feel my self-image isn't right. Just talk to someone that's depressed and say, what do you think about yourself? And see what they say. I feel like if you talk to, I feel like you can, how can I explain this? If you talk to someone for like an hour, you'll understand everything you need to know about them. Do you know what I mean? It will come out. Most people just don't get to speak. That's the problem. And that's the messages I get when they say, thank you for letting me open up to you. I've never said this out loud or even wrote it. Do you know what I mean? It's just stayed in here all this time. So the key is getting people to speak and raising their self-image.